Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. Here we are, another week talking about ingredients for a better life. And this week we're talking about hair fibers. And now we're not talking about the kind of fiber that's good for your hair, right? We're talking about those, those supplements or those items that maybe you put into your hair to help you along in that first part of the program, kind of like an adjunct or something. So if you can just kind of explain what hair fibers are, what they're used for, and we can have a conversation about that.
All right, Jay, we're going to talk about hair fibers, okay? And the first thing I'm going to do is show a visual, okay? Hair
Okay.
fibers, so your viewers can get an idea. So I'm going to do my best to utilize technology, share my screen, see if this happens. Here we go. Screen share, okay. What do you see, Jay?
I see the Martians.
Okay, right. They every week, Jay, every week I get that same one coming down bringing referrals.
Okay.
He said, hey, Doc, we waited on Elon for a couple of years. It's not happening. So we're going to continue to bring down referrals. And as long as he brings 2 at a time, Jay, we give him a credit on the trip down. It's pretty expensive, but we credit it towards the annual program, 2 at a time. So anyone from Mars that's you're referring, please make sure it's 2 at a time, okay?
Gotcha.
All right. Now, fibers, right? This gentleman here, Jay. So fibers can be utilized not on a bald scalp, right? Because there's no fibers to attach. So someone with a bald scalp would be a candidate for that SMP, that scalp micropigmentation that'll last, that henna tattoo for 2 to 3 years. That'll buy you a couple of years. And that's a good adjunctive treatment when you're using our program along with those things, because as you mentioned, those things are for concealment. They're for hiding things, but they're not for changing things, and they're not for resolving a biochemical issue. And they won't work with the transplant over time because the miniaturized hairs in between the transplants will eventually wither away if you're not on our program. But someone like this, Jay, if this person said, hey, Dr. Nettles, I know I like your program. I know it's going to work. I know it's going to take time to grow back. Would I be a candidate for using that hair fiber? And I would say someone like this, Jay, absolutely. Do you see this picture, Jay? Hopefully you can see this image. So this would be a patient that if he sprinkled those hair fibers on, his thin hair would look a lot thicker and darker. Almost, it would be overnight, right? You'd put that fiber on. Now, friends that saw you like this yesterday, Jay, and then saw you like this today would probably know something happened. Now, this gentleman, Jay, came in to see us. He didn't use the fibers. He decided just to start the program. This is him 9 months in.
Yeah, wow, that's real hair.
Jay, this is real hair in 9 months.
Wow, that's a quick turnaround.
So yeah, I'll stop sharing so we can get back to the conversation. But so the program works for everyone. Sometimes you're looking for a little something to buy you some time. I think the fibers work for that situation if you've got a little bit of fuzzy hair. Now, if you're a fuzzy haired client, you're definitely an ideal candidate for our program, because those are unhealthy hairs that are being affected by your biochemical imbalance that we can rebalance and get those hairs to regrow back stronger.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a masking tape approach. Not going to fix the problem, but it'll get you looking good in that short-term wedding situation or whatever it is you may need to, attend to. We want to look good when we're there, so just be careful. Don't get in the hot tub with those hair fibers,
Right. Yeah. So the hair fibers are not a long-term solution, right? You can't take them in the swimming pool. You can't jump in the ocean. You can't sweat. You can't play sports. So like you said, short-term fix to get you through that event, but getting on our program to rebalance your body from the inside can regrow the hair like patients you've seen.
Let's touch on that as well. That the hair loss doesn't happen overnight, so naturally it takes a little bit of time to get it back.
We get 100% of people regrow hair if we can rebalance their body from the inside. Hair grows 0.5 millimeter per day. So when patients come in, Jay, they say, hey, doctor, I'm going to see hair grow before you do. And I say, Jay, you're not. You're going to see 0.5 millimeter of hair growth because you're comparing today to yesterday.
That was another thing I wanted to touch on quickly, is that some people say, oh, well, you guys only show your best cases, or you only show these people that are, excelling, or these guys that are 23 years old that you put on your website, which, is partially true. Obviously, the younger people are, the faster they address the problem, the faster they're going to turn it around. So that's partly true. But, the biggest thing is to get the biochemical report card test, find out what the causes are, so we can, so you can identify them, turn them around, to get on that path to recovery, we'll say, taking control of that rocket ship, so you can finally control the things you're putting in. You can finally control the things that your parents gave you, that you're not stuck with forever, that you can, just do a little adjustment to, and people can go on and, live very well into their lives in their older years. So people don't believe me when I say, like, oh, I'm 42 years old. Or people say, they call in, they say, I've been having this going on for 10 years. I'm 42. I say, well, you're still a very young man. You've got another 50 years of life ahead of you. And they don't believe it. But I say, well, be careful what you wish for. Like, you haven't met Dr. Nettles yet.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jay, our youngest client is 14 years old, and our oldest client that started the program is 88 years old.
Yeah.
So you're never too young, never too old. It's about value. And in this country especially, how many people value their health? 84% of adults in the United States are overweight, out of shape, based on biometric numbers. 84%. What percent out of that 16% are going to care about their hair? That's the question. It's a value proposition. Everybody on earth can afford a program that works, that's effective, that costs $100 to $200 a month. Everybody on earth can't afford that.
It's going to be less expensive in the long run. Let me say that again. It'll be less expensive in the long run if you do that, rather than having to deal with those type 2 diabetes, heart disease, all that stuff. Is, live in nursing care and all. Like, good luck with that. Like, it's better to do it up front. Well,
I'm sure that life insurance carriers definitely want our patients as their clients, Jay. We have the healthiest patients on earth. We have patients from 6 continents. We're in the thousands, but I don't think there's more than 1 million people on earth today that actually seek that much health.
Yeah. Well, I have people that call in for the consultations, and they say, well, could it be now because I've gotten these vaccinations and the COVID? Is this causing my hair? It's like, look, it doesn't really matter what's causing it. It doesn't matter if it was Grandpa Joe. Doesn't matter if you're eating hot dogs and cotton candy every day for 10 years. Just matters that you deal with it, find out what's causing it, and Dr. Ray can turn it around. So it's really hard to put, everyone wants a simple answer, but unfortunately, it's not that simple. Like, it's a myriad of an equation that you have to solve for different variables. And that's why you went to medical school. So my job is just to get that word out that, look, doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter the cause.
The discovery is in the blood.
Yeah.
And now, Jay, the blood work that our research team put together, that biomarker report card, it's available in 4,000 locations. Everyone's doctor, if they knew my name, Dr. Nettles, BRC, they could write for it and they could get the results. They couldn't interpret the results, but they could at least get the biometrics. And it starts there. Once you understand the biometrics, you then could create a plan. And it could be a supplement, it could be a diet, it could be a topical, it could be an oral, it could be a capsule, it could be an injectable, all those things aside. But you've got a very small group of people today that really want to look under the hood and figure out what's going on inside their body. But Jay, we're dealing with men in the United States of America that, number one, aren't that healthy. They're not that dedicated to committing to a health program. So we've got very few people here that we're dealing with, but the ones that have come have been great. They've been great to work with. I think we call them the A clients, because they strive to be A's in the classroom.
So here's the last $20,000 question I gave you. This is the one I get all the time, is how long is this going to take for me to regrow my hair? People ask me. And I say, well, depends on a lot of different factors. But what do you say, Doc? What's your question?
Jay,
Yep.
It starts with discovery.
Okay, explain.
Starts with discovering. If you don't get your blood work, nobody can tell you anything, right? So we can't tell you how long until we get your blood work.
It's like me going cooking and just grabbing out random ingredients. Like, you want to know, hey, that's flour, that's sugar, that's salt, that's it. Like, you have to know exactly what you're grabbing so you can know what you're dealing with. Like, how you need to know the exact quantities and all those little dynamics. Yeah, so that makes sense. So the greatest thing people could do today to help themselves is what? Get the blood test and schedule a consultation and get on board and get the ball rolling, because it takes, let's be honest, it takes a week between the blood work and to see you, so there's a little bit of overlap period. So there, if people want to get these results, it's not like they can go in tomorrow. It's not a drive-through situation at the Starbucks. They have to go make the appointment, get their blood drawn, then a week, 10 days later, depending on what holiday comes up, they're going to see you. So it's important to be proactive and get everything rolling. So you support hair fibers then at the end of the day, in conjunction with the program. I mean, obviously, like, someone's been losing hair for 10 years and they have a wedding in 2 months. Sure, some fibers might be a good thing. And I know that you guys have all that kind of information available on the website as well. So
absolutely, Jade. If there's a company out there that's making a new type of fiber that's more safe for the environment, and they want to work with a company like ours, they can definitely get in touch with you. The fibers, they're sort of like when women use their clips and clip-ins and those things to add some volume to their hair. It's a way for a young man to add some volume to their hair. They're not going to be able to make it, like mine. It's not real hair to stick up, but it's kind of covering the bottom of the swimming pool, so you can't see quite through it so much.
It's an adjunct. It's not a solution, but it's a good adjunct to get you where you need to be temporarily.
Absolutely.
So,
well,
all right,
thanks
Dr.
for
Ray.
hosting the show, Jay.
Yeah, see you next week. Thanks for your time. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.